The afternoon sun burned down on the school courtyard, casting long shadows across the pavement. Maya Johnson, clutching her books against her chest, walked quickly through the maze of lockers. She had learned to move like a shadow, avoiding the loud groups of students in red varsity jackets who always seemed to notice her at the worst times. She heard them before she saw them, low laughter, the kind that wasn't friendly but sharp and cruel. "Hey, there she is," one of the boys said. His name was Derek Miller, the self-appointed leader of the group. He was tall, broad-shouldered, with the smugness of someone who had never been told no. His friends, Ryan and Kyle, walked beside him, matching red jackets, matching arrogance. Maya kept her eyes down and tried to walk faster. "Slow down," Derek called. "We just want to talk." But his words twisted when he added with a smirk, "or maybe choke." Before she could react, his arms snaked around her neck, dragging her back into his chest. Maya's books spilled onto the ground. The laughter of his friends echoed against the brick walls. "You can't escape it, ape," Derek hissed in her ear. The word cut through her like a blade. Her vision blurred as his grip tightened, her airway closing, lungs screaming for air. Students stopped and turned. Some gasped, others whispered nervously, but no one stepped in. The sight of Derek, star quarterback, adored by teachers, untouchable in the eyes of the school, was enough to freeze them in place. Maya clawed at his arm, her nails digging into his skin, but it wasn't working. Panic flared in her chest. "Stay calm, breathe, remember your training." In her mind, she saw her coach, Daniel Reed, standing in the dimly lit MMA gym where she spent every evening after school. His voice was steady, commanding. "Don't fight with anger, Maya, fight with control. A fighter without control is just another bully." Her mother's voice followed, softer but firm. "You are not what they call you. Don't ever let their words shape who you are." The two voices clashed inside her head as her breath thinned. For months she had endured this group, snide comments, cruel jokes, shoves in the hallway. She told herself to walk away, to be the bigger person, but this wasn't words anymore. This was survival. With a sudden burst of strength, Maya planted her foot, twisted her hips, and grabbed Derek's wrist with both hands. In one fluid motion, she bent forward and rolled her shoulder. The chokehold broke. Derek stumbled forward, losing his balance. Gasps filled the courtyard. Before he could recover, Maya stepped behind him, hooked her arm under his, and locked him in a shoulder hold. His eyes went wide as pain shot through his arm. He groaned, his earlier smirk replaced with panic. "Don't touch me again." Her voice shook but carried power. She released him, letting him fall to the ground. He clutched his arm, glaring at her with shock and anger. His friends, Ryan and Kyle, exchanged nervous looks. "What the hell was that?" Ryan muttered. She just, Kyle trailed off, too stunned to finish. The crowd of students whispered louder now. For once, their eyes weren't filled with pity for Maya. They were filled with awe. Derek tried to recover, pushing himself up. "You think you're tough? You're nothing," he spat, though his voice trembled. Maya didn't flinch. She looked him straight in the eye. "Walk away, Derek, before you embarrass yourself even more." The silence that followed was suffocating. Then, from somewhere in the crowd, a girl shouted, "Leave her alone." The chant grew, one voice becoming two, then 10, then dozens. The bullies who had always fed on silence suddenly found themselves drowning in noise. Derek's face turned red. He wanted to lash out again, but something in Maya's eyes stopped him. She wasn't afraid anymore. He spat on the ground and muttered, "This isn't over." Then he and his friends shoved through the crowd and disappeared. Maya bent down, gathered her books with shaking hands, and walked away. The crowd parted for her like water. For the first time, she wasn't invisible, she was undeniable. That evening, Maya sat in the garage gym where her coach trained her. Sweat dripped down her face as she pounded the heavy bag again and again, every strike echoing her anger, her fear, and her relief. Coach Reed stood quietly at first, watching. Then he said, "I heard what happened." Maya froze, her fists pressed against the bag. "Everybody's talking, huh?" "Yeah," he said softly, "but I want to hear it from you." Her throat tightened. He called me an ape. He choked me in front of everyone. Coach's jaw clenched, but he stayed calm. And what did you do? I fought back, she whispered. He nodded. Good, but tell me, did you fight to hurt him or to protect yourself? She thought for a moment, then said, to protect myself. Then you did the right thing, Coach Reed said firmly. Never forget that. Her eyes burned with tears she had refused to shed earlier. But it's not over. He's gonna come after me again. They always do. Coach Reed stepped closer. Then you'll be ready, and every time they try to break you, you'll show them you're unbreakable. The next week, the storm came back. Derek and his friends cornered her in the cafeteria, food trays clattering to the floor. You think you embarrassed me, Derek growled. Nah, today I'm gonna show everybody who's in charge. The crowd fell silent again, all eyes on them. Maya stood up slowly, her fists at her sides, her heart pounding. You don't scare me anymore, Derek. He lunged at her, but this time Maya didn't wait. She sidestepped, grabbed his arm and swept his legs. In seconds, he was flat on his back. Ryan and Kyle tried to rush her, but Maya's training took over. A kick, a block, a takedown, every move controlled, precise, flawless. By the time a teacher rushed in, the three bullies were stumbling away, clutching their bruises, humiliated in front of the entire school. The cafeteria erupted. Cheers, claps, chants of her name. Maya, Maya, Maya. She stood in the center, breathing hard, her body trembling not from fear but from power. For the first time, she wasn't the target, she was the example. That night, her mother sat on the edge of her bed. You did good, baby, she said softly. But remember, your greatest strength isn't what you do with your fists, it's what you do with your heart. Maya leaned against her mother's shoulder, exhausted but at peace. And in that moment, she realized she hadn't just fought bullies, she had fought every hateful word, every whisper, every cruel laugh, and she had won. From then on, the bullies avoided her, but the students who once watched in silence now walked with their heads higher. Maya's courage had given them permission to believe in their own strength. And though the scars of that day would always linger, so would the truth. No matter how tight the world tried to choke her, Maya Johnson would always find a way to breathe and to rise.